And greetings, people of Earth. My name's Esther, and it's very nice to be talking to you this evening or whenever it is that you're listening to this. Today's episode, I would like to talk to you a little bit about my weight loss journey, which sounds really shallow, but actually, there's quite a lot to it, when you dive into these things. So essentially, a huge part of me finding comfort when I was young and ripped away from my home in Ghana and I would go through bullying phases, food was a guaranteed comfort. But it made me fat. So essentially that was not helpful, especially as I was actually quite a promising dancer. And, this isn't about body shaming at all. This is about actually I was slowly killing my body, or at least not giving it the fuel that it needed to actually do something pretty amazing. And, if I'd known and if I'd had the help back then, maybe I'd be a professional dancer by now. But I will not dwell because there is no point because, can't go back in time. So, so my appearance and weight has always been a bit up and down and always been a huge insecurity of mine. So I won't go into like my whole, childhood history and ups and downs. What I will talk about is the almost 2 years ago that I had a baby, and I lost a lot of weight in the beginning because, well, I was really nauseous, so I didn't eat. And as baby's growing, they're like eating and using all your fuel. So I looked fantastic. I was like skinny. My boobs were massive. I looked like poster girl almost. I mean, I've always been curvy and chunky, but as far as my level of like skinniness, it's pretty much at my peak of skinniness. And my whole pregnancy, I was tiny. Like, I barely had a bump. I went down some water slides, safe, pretty chilled water slides at 7 months pregnant in a swimsuit, and the lifeguards didn't know I was pregnant. Otherwise, they probably would have stopped me. Don't worry, Tyrone tested the slide first. Tyrone is the husband. He tested it to make sure that it was gentle and not too crazy and blah, 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 blah. So this whole pregnancy, I was like, you're tiny. And I'm like, tell me more, thank you. Because I typically don't get that because I've always been kind of chunky and curvy. And I still was chunky and curvy, but by comparison to other 7 months pregnant people, I was pretty small. Anyway, so had Baba and then didn't really gain a lot of weight for ages. It just probably only started about 6 months, when he was 6 months old, and just slowly just started creeping up and up and up, and I barely noticed it until suddenly I didn't want to go to any Zoom meetings. I didn't want to go and see anyone. I wanted to hide. I would avoid mirrors. Like, I was so uncomfortable in my own skin. Being a dancer, I was not in shape. So when I wanted to express myself and do a dance, my technique and my physicality just wasn't where it used to be. So I just wasn't able to do what I'd done before. So it was a real frustration. And I guess I don't know what the turning point was exactly, but I do remember having a quick video call with an old friend from South Africa who was part of the dance troupe that I was running before we came to Ireland. And he was like, sure, you gained weight. And I don't think it was meant as an insult, because curvy women are, I believe it's a good thing. It's sort of a sign of wealthiness. It's a good sign because you've got enough food to gain weight or whatever. So I know he didn't mean it maliciously. I know him well enough to know that. He's from a different culture than I am, so I get it. It was different. But in that moment, I was like, ugh, crap. And then I started a little group chat with a few ladies who I knew were interested in being healthy. Because I know myself, And I know that I can't do it alone. I can't be disciplined enough. I can't make all the right decisions. I can't do it without a community. And Tyrone kind of has the opposite problem in that he's quite slim. So if anything, he needs to gain weight. So it's not like it's something that we can do together either, because he has no need. He's muscular and slim and good for him. He could eat whatever he wants and not get fat, but he doesn't really like food very much, so I guess that helps. So, and then one of the ladies on this group chat told me about this fitness hit training that was happening daily on Zoom live, and it was free of charge at the moment. And that first session almost killed me. I could barely do like 3 star jumps before I was wrecked. And every day maybe not every day, but most days we'd start and I'd be like, why are we doing this to ourselves? Why are we putting ourselves through this? It was awful. It was painful. I hated it. But I like having a sluggish day almost every day. I'd feel sluggish. I'd feel headachy. I'd feel ugh. And then I would do the workout. And after my initial collapse at the end of the session, I would have a boost. So for the rest of the evening with Ezra, and I could make dinner, I could play with him, and none of it was hard. I could enjoy life. And as someone who's suffered long term with chronic fatigue, IBS, too much information, I know, constant headaches, lightheadedness, weakness, all that kind of stuff, like battle these things daily and have done for years. When you feel like you have the energy to cook dinner, that is a win. That is like, whoop, whoop, yay, I can cook. That's amazing. And it doesn't feel like the worst thing, the hardest thing in the world. Like when you have all these chronic things, just, getting into the shower, just getting dinner together feels like a mountain. So I knew that if I tortured myself for half an hour, that then for the next 6 hours, I would have a rich life. I would have the freedom to do things with Ezra, and how I felt physically wouldn't even factor into it. So I started engaging this mentality of, this is going to suck. I am not going to like it. But no matter how awful I feel now, I always feel better afterwards. And one of the things that I want to jump into, I don't know if I'll have the time to jump into it deeply on this session, possibly in the future, is this thing of doing things that you don't feel like doing. Like if I didn't work out because I felt ill, like genuinely ill, like had a headache or had just been to the toilet and think, gosh, I'm actually sick, or feel lightheaded when I stand up, then I would probably be bedridden. But through encouragement and community, and I guess my own desire to be physically fit and to dance well. It wasn't like I wanted to lose weight and I wanted to look healthier, but essentially I wanted to keep up with my son and I wanted to dance well. So the sacrifice was worth it. Like quite often I'd sign on to a session not often, but I remember signing on in my slippers and being like, I don't know if I can do this. And I think only once, maybe twice, did I start a session and actually have to stop after like a couple of minutes or 5 minutes. And I was like, no, you know what? My body actually can't do this right now. I actually have to stop. And the same with back when I was going to a gymnastics class. I would always get really burpy and gassy and awful on the way. And only once did I ever have to leave, because the feelings once I get moving and the blood is pumping, the first 10 minutes are tough, but the feeling passes, and then my body is into gear, and I can burn calories, and I can push myself, and I can enjoy it. So, as someone who's been through chronic illness, I guess I wanted to just spread some hope that You don't have to wait until your chronic illness and pain is better before you can get fit or healthy, or if you want to be active, if you want to run, if you want to dance, whatever it is. Of course, what I have done won't necessarily work for everyone. Of course, it won't. Like, everyone is so different. But if I hadn't trained myself and practiced and had the support to show up to classes, giving myself full permission to leave or to just walk it, or to push myself. I gave myself permission to do whatever I needed to do, even if that was to leave. But like I said, the majority of the time, my body wakes up, kicks into gear, and then I get the reward, and I can enjoy the rest of the day or the rest of the evening and actually feel like I have energy to spare, which is awesome and not something that I feel a lot of. Yeah, so in terms of like actual weight loss, I was about 97 kilograms this time last year. I'm now 82 kilograms. And I think I know I've lost over 10% body fat. It might be close to 15 now. I could be wrong. I think it was like 37% body fat and it's now down to like 25, something like that. So, I've been working hard and I have tips and tricks, and I am not perfect at it and I fail at it, but I'm also quite good at it because I'm obviously seeing some results, which is awesome. So probably in another session there, I will delve into some tips and tricks in some of my hacks, I guess, as to how I go about losing weight while still eating chocolate. Now, don't get me wrong, you can't just eat bars of chocolate and lose weight, but you don't have to cut it out completely. Yeah, so we will save that for the fitness episode number 2. And I'll let you in on my journey with that. Essentially, what I want to say before wrapping up is that, it really isn't about necessarily how we look. It really is about getting the most out of life. And I don't want to overthink it, and I don't want to be nitty gritty about it. And, I don't want to deny us all cheesecake for the rest of our lives. But we do live in a world where health is not an easy thing to just maintain. We don't live in a world where we have to walk for water and work hard for food and all the food is wholesome and natural. We don't live in a society that makes being healthy natural. So I guess I just want to encourage you to connect and find ways that you can be a little bit healthier and you can take care of what God has given you as best as you can without getting nitty gritty, without getting hard on yourself, without making yourself feel bad for anything. Just have a moment, chat to God and be like, well, what can I do? What do I like? What part of this healthy thing would I actually enjoy embracing? And just start there and see where you go. Because essentially, it is better that way. It is harder, but it is better overall. At least it is for me anyway. And my life is definitely seriously enriched by being active and dancing away my worries. And yeah, I would just like to share my journey and my tips and tricks and hopefully encourage and inspire you all to get the most out of life and get active. So I think I'll wrap up there for now, and I will dive into those tips and tricks at another point. In the meantime, God bless you all, and I don't even know why we say that, because generally we are blessed, but that's a whole other theological discussion to have another time. So have a great day /evening/night and chat to you soon. Take care now. Bye.